the position you need to end up in midair, but we're going to do it here. We're going to kind of like reverse process it. Where she's going to get in the arm bar. It's just as important when you're learning, the coach is vital. Because basically I have to make sure my partner is not falling on their head at the beginning. Okay? Until they understand this movement. So how that's going to be done is basically I'm going to hold her head. Okay? The arm that she's attacking, I'm going to hold her head. She's going to be holding my head as well, hooking the arm, okay? And just from here, she's just going to spin into an arm bar like we always do. Now what's incredibly important here, as in all arm bars, is the back leg is more important than the one that goes over the head. So when you jump into the air, a lot of people think about, I got to get a leg over the head. By the time they try and do that, they've already fallen on their back, okay? And what we got to do is jump and hook their back. That leg holds you there and lifts you up. Does that make sense? So that you can grab the head. Many times you don't even get the head until it hits the ground a lot of times, okay? As long as that back leg is locked in and you're holding their arm, it should be, holding their head, you should be able to do this, okay? So what we're gonna do is go ahead and spin into an arm bar. She's gonna spin into an arm bar here. Now, hang on to my head, please. I'm going to stand up. Okay, you gotta make sure I can hang on to you. Go ahead, spin in. Does that make sense? Okay, you're my coach just as much as I'm your coach. So I'm gonna hold her head, she's gonna hold my head, and I'm going to stand up. No, don't slide off, coach. You got to hang on with those legs tight, please. Slide this up to me. Yeah, okay, that's good. Hang on tight, because I'm going to pick you up. That's what we're going to get to. Does that make sense? I'm holding her up in the air just as much as she's holding herself. You okay?
Yeah.
So I want you to practice that. I know it sounds kind of funny, but because I want you to know what this person needs to do when they go. When Sheila does a flying arm bar, watch how I don't come crashing down. I hold her. You ready to do it? Go ahead. Does that make sense? That's how you learn it. So that she doesn't have to think, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, if I mess this up, I'm going to land on my head and break my neck. Does that make sense? So, again. The arm, she's going to arm bar, I hook her head. She spins in. I still want her holding though. See how she's holding my neck? I'm holding her neck. Her legs are tight. Stand up, lift them up. Make sure you can do this. Put them back down. Let's go, show me this. Just from the ground I just did. You know what? We're going to do this step. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have these guys try this step. Rotating in a circle towards them will make this easier. Okay, so what I mean by that is instead of just being square, Sheila's going to start with the step. Go ahead. That way. Does that make sense? She's starting to come this way. 1, and then up, 2. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3. I should be able to put her down nice. Does that make sense? Just hang on tight, hang on tight. 1, 2, go ahead. 2. Because again, I want the flow. The flow should be a nice big circle. 1, 2, down, down. That's how it should go. Does that make sense? Oh, let's do this. Give me 4 more each. That first leg has to come up high and clamp. Does that make sense? Up high and clamp. I want you to go up high and clamp. Do not take my leg over the head. Okay? Does that make sense? So watch this leg. It's going to go up high and clamp on my back. Sorry. Make sure you clamp it. Clamp. You see that holds her in the air. Does that make sense? Okay. That leg holds her. Grabs me. Okay. One more time. Up high and clamp. Clamp. Okay. Again. Up high. Clamp. Then she goes to my head. Okay. Let's go. A few more. Focus on that. You got to overemphasize the spin. Okay? This will get you in better position. That's why I was saying earlier when we did the arm bar, there's no reason why you guys should be able to throw your leg and spin, not halfway, not quarterway. Spin as far as you can. The same with this. She'll throw this leg up. This leg is really going out wide and spinning hard. She should be turning as far as she can. She'll at least end up turning 90 degrees, maybe even a little bit more. Does that make sense? first of all, it gets her in proper position. Second of all, if you ever watch Sheila's flying arm bars, the girls always end up on their back. The reason behind that is because that rotating motion puts me down. Does that make sense? So let's just say you're going to do it wrong. She jumped up, kind of square to me-ish, doesn't like do the rotation. I could probably, it's fairly easy for me, go ahead. Just kind of stay square. And you see how, yeah, okay, she's getting it, but I'm just here. Now this time, you watch me, she does this for real, there's a lot of momentum. You're going to see how I rotate. It's almost like I end up doing a shoulder roll, okay? So when she does that step across and spins hard, I roll this way. That's what happens almost every time. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go, try it. Let's get that big spin. Bend your knees, get a good base. Hang on to her head tight. That's my key. I gotta hang on to her head basically. She should do the rest. She needs to hang on to my neck. This leg is jumping up, hooking my arm, my back, right? So under my arm, hooking my back, and then the other leg will go over the head. I may be able to hold her up, I might not. But I will be able to put her down lightly. She shouldn't jump and I go, ugh, fall on my face and she crashes into the ground.
So don't let go of their head.
Don't let go of their head, keep your balance. That's what we just practices. Does that make sense? I know what's coming, so I gotta be ready. I put this knee down. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
Turn with him.
Yeah, turn with him. Drop that one knee. Okay. So don't more going down. I just don't want you slamming them, but don't keep holding them up in the air right now either. Okay. Couple more. Let's go.
Obviously, when you're when you're actually rolling or when you're fighting people, we never do this. We always do this. So what you're having a hard time with right now is getting this leg up and clamping down when the person's standing really upright. For one, it seems like it's sliding down, and for two, it's so high. So, but when we're actually down like this, and I go, oh, it hooks a lot easier because the person's slightly bent over, so it's easier to pull down as well as it's not as high of a jump.
Okay, so on that token, let's do that. But now what that means is, you were standing up tall to keep your base. When you do this, odds are what's going to happen? You're going to fall. Now that being said, you should still be able to hold them up for a little bit. Like it shouldn't be like they just crash. Does that make sense? So Dusty, you do it to me. You watch now that we're bent. This should be easier for Dusty. I'll probably fall, but I shouldn't drop him on his head either. Here. Does that make sense? Like I couldn't hold him up. That's as best I could hold him up. Did you go down hard? No, not at all. I held him up as much as I could as I was falling. And I didn't fall there because I wanted to. When I was bent like that and he did the proper technique, that's what happened. I couldn't keep my balance. Okay? Does that make sense? Let's go, try it. Bend over. Drop. There. Beautiful. Ah, good. Go. One more. Two. Your head will be on the other side. As strong as you can.